Never let anyone control your emotions again. That's a bold statement, isn't it? But let me ask you this. How many times in your life have you allowed someone else to control how you feel? How many times have you let the words or actions of others determine your mood, your happiness, or your peace of mind? You see, we're living in a world where it's so easy to fall into the trap of reacting to the external forces that surround us. We get frustrated, angry, or upset because of what others say or do. But what if I told you that you have the power to stop all of that? What if I told you that your emotions don't have to be dictated by anyone else but you? The truth is, control over your emotions is one of the most powerful things you can achieve in life. In fact, it's not just a nice to have, it's essential for success. The person who can master their emotional state, who can remain calm and focused no matter what happens, is the person who will rise above adversity, who will move forward, and who will achieve their goals. And it's not about ignoring your feelings. It's about taking responsibility for them, understanding that you are the one who decides how you respond to the world around you. You've probably heard the saying, "You are the master of your own fate." It sounds simple, doesn't it? But how often do we truly live by this principle, especially when it comes to our emotions? How often do we let the opinions, actions, or even the mere presence of others dictate how we feel? In moments of frustration, sadness, or anger, we might even convince ourselves that our emotions are entirely at the mercy of the world around us, but nothing could be further from the truth. In reality, the power to control how you feel lies in your hands alone. That power is the key to unlocking a life of personal freedom, success, and peace. You see, the vast majority of people have a tendency to react emotionally to the world as it unfolds before them. When things go wrong, we feel anger. When someone criticizes us, we feel hurt. When our plans don't go as expected, we feel defeated. It's a cycle that traps many people in a loop of negative thinking, preventing them from achieving the peace, success, and fulfillment they desire. It's an all too common pattern in life. External circumstances trigger an emotional response, and that emotional response shapes our next actions, thoughts, and behaviors. But what if there's a way out of this cycle? What if you could stop letting outside events dictate how you feel and instead take full command of your emotional state? The truth is, your emotions don't have to control you ever. If we're honest with ourselves, we know this is true. But too often, we forget the simple fact that we are the ones who decide how to respond to a situation. Our emotions are not reactions to the world. They are reflections of the thoughts we choose to entertain. Think about that for a moment. Your emotions are not reactions, they are reflections. When you choose to give power to negativity or frustration, you are choosing to experience those emotions. But when you consciously decide to let go of those feelings, you're free. Free to live a life where you are not swayed by external forces, but instead anchored by your inner strength and clarity. This doesn't mean you ignore or suppress your feelings. Far from it. The key is understanding that your emotions are valid. But they don't have to dictate the course of your day or your life. It's about taking responsibility for your emotional state and recognizing that you have the ability to change how you feel. In fact, the most successful individuals in the world are not those who are immune to negative feelings. No. They are the ones who have learned how to navigate through their emotions, how to stay grounded, even when the world around them is filled with chaos and uncertainty. They are the ones who recognize that how they feel is their choice, not a result of what happens to them. Imagine for a moment, you're in a difficult situation. Someone says something hurtful, or something doesn't go as planned. The natural human response is often to feel anger, frustration, or sadness. But you have a choice in that moment. You can either let those emotions take over and control you, or you can pause, take a deep breath, and choose a different response. You can choose to not let those emotions dictate your behavior. You can choose to respond with calm, with understanding, or even with indifference, knowing that the words or actions of others do not define your worth or your peace of mind. The moment you realize that you have the power to control how you respond, you free yourself. The moment you stop allowing the emotions of others to take hold of you, you begin to master your own destiny. And when you take control of your emotions, something extraordinary happens. Your life changes. You begin to live with purpose, with clarity, and with a level of peace that most people only dream of. Your energy becomes focused on the things that truly matter, on your goals, your relationships, and your inner growth. Here's the truth: no one can make you feel anything without your consent. It doesn't matter what anyone says or does, or how they behave. You are in charge of your emotional reactions. This understanding is liberating. It means that you no longer have to be a slave to circumstances. It means that you can take control of your inner state, no matter what the outer world may throw at you. And when you do that, you start to live life on your terms. But this kind of control doesn't happen overnight. It takes practice. It takes constant awareness and a commitment to changing how you think and respond. It takes the understanding that in every situation, you are the one who gets to choose your emotional state. And when you make that choice, when you take full responsibility for your emotions, something remarkable occurs. You start to create the life you've always wanted, one decision, one feeling, one action at a time. So, ask yourself today, how much power are you willing to give away? How much longer will you allow external circumstances to determine how you feel? The power is in your hands. The moment you realize this, you will begin to see your life in a completely new light. You will become the master of your emotions, and nothing will ever be able to take that away from you. Think about the times in your life when you've faced challenges, when the road ahead seemed steep and the obstacles too many to count. In those moments, what did you focus on? What did you allow to dominate your thoughts? Did you let the difficulty of the situation consume you? Or did you find a way to look beyond the problem and see an opportunity for growth? Our lives, as we know them, are a reflection of what we focus on. The thoughts we allow to occupy our minds determine the course of our actions. And while it's true that we can't always control the external circumstances in our lives, we have complete control over how we respond to them. That is where the real power lies. Think about it for a moment. If you're focused on a problem, on the negative aspects of a situation, that's exactly what your mind will continue to bring to the forefront. You begin to look for evidence to confirm what you're already thinking. When you think something is impossible, your mind will show you every reason why it can't be done. When you think that a person or situation has power over you, your emotions will confirm that belief by making you feel helpless, defeated, or frustrated. It's the way the mind works. It always looks for proof of what you believe to be true. And in that process, it often blinds us to the countless other possibilities that exist. What if, instead of focusing on what's going wrong, you decided to focus on what's going right? What if, instead of letting yourself be consumed by frustration or fear, you made the conscious choice to focus on solutions? When you do that, something remarkable happens. You begin to shift your energy from the negative to the positive. Your focus moves from the problem to the possibility. This is where true power lies, focusing on what you can control rather than what you cannot. When we focus on what we can control, we stop wasting precious energy on things beyond our influence. You can't control the actions of others, but you can control your own behavior. You can't control the circumstances that come your way, but you can control how you respond to them. The person who understands this distinction is the person who takes command of their life. They understand that it's not about the challenges they face, but how they face them. Consider the great achievers in life. Those who have built extraordinary careers, overcome tremendous adversity, and accomplished seemingly impossible feats. What sets them apart? Is it because they've been fortunate enough to have an easy path, free from obstacles? No. It's because they've learned to focus on what they can control. They've learned to focus on solutions instead of problems, and to respond to adversity with resilience rather than defeat. And this ability, this mindset, is something anyone can cultivate. The first step to this transformation is awareness. You have to be aware of the thoughts that are dominating your mind. Are you focusing on what's not working, or are you focusing on how you can fix it? Are you focusing on the mistakes of others, or are you focusing on your own growth? Our thoughts are incredibly powerful, but they are also habitual. If we're not careful, we can fall into a pattern of negative thinking, where all we see are the roadblocks in front of us. The key to breaking free from this is to become aware of the patterns of thought that limit us. Once you recognize the thoughts that are holding you back, you can begin to shift your focus towards those that propel you forward. The next step is to take action. It's one thing to think positively, but it's another thing entirely to act on those thoughts. Action is the bridge between intention and results. When you focus on what you can control, you start taking steps in the right direction. You stop waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect conditions, or the perfect opportunity. You understand that the power is in the present moment, and every small action you take today brings you closer to the life you want to create. And here's the beauty of it. The more you focus on what you can control, the more you will see opportunities around you. You'll begin to recognize that the challenges you face are not barriers, but stepping stones to something greater. You'll start to see how adversity can strengthen you, how setbacks can teach you, and how obstacles can lead to personal growth. But it's important to remember that this shift in focus doesn't happen overnight. It takes practice. It takes a commitment to seeing the world through a different lens, to intentionally directing your attention toward solutions instead of problems. But the more you practice this, the easier it becomes. Your mind starts to become conditioned to look for possibilities instead of limitations. And when that happens, you will find yourself moving through life with a sense of purpose, clarity, and resilience that will carry you through any challenge that comes your way. In the end, life is not about the external circumstances you face, but about how you choose to respond to them. Your ability to focus on what you can control is the key to unlocking your full potential. When you focus on solutions, on growth, and on what you can do to improve your situation, you free yourself from the chains of negativity and uncertainty. And in that freedom, you'll find the strength to achieve anything you set your mind to. Have you ever found yourself frustrated, angry, or upset over something someone else did? Maybe a comment, a gesture, or an action that seemed to rub you the wrong way. It's a common experience, and in those moments, it often feels like the other person has the power to control your emotional state. But the truth is, the only one with that power is you. The words and actions of others can only affect your emotional state if you allow them to. You see, most people walk around in life believing that other people's behavior dictates their emotional well-being, but the real power lies in how you respond. Imagine a scenario. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Immediately, you feel that surge of irritation or even anger. But here's the question. Why do you feel that way? Is it because of the person who cut you off, or is it because of how you interpret the situation? The truth is, it's your interpretation of what happened that dictates how you feel. You've assigned a meaning to that event, and based on that meaning, you're choosing to feel anger. But what if you chose to view the situation differently? What if, instead of feeling anger, you simply acknowledged the action and moved on with your day without letting it affect your mood? This is where the power of not taking things personally comes into play. When you stop internalizing other people's behavior, you take away their ability to control your emotional state. You stop making their actions about you. Most of the time, when someone behaves in a way that frustrates or angers you, it's a reflection of their own state of mind, their own challenges, or their own insecurities. It's not about you at all. When you recognize this, you begin to detach yourself emotionally from the actions of others. Now, I know what you're thinking. You might be saying to yourself, but what if they said something hurtful or did something wrong? It's completely natural to feel upset when someone's actions or words affect you, but it's important to remember that you have the power to decide how to respond. You don't have to react with anger, frustration, or hurt. You have the ability to choose how you will interpret the situation. And when you take control of that interpretation, you regain control of your emotional state. Think about the most emotionally resilient people you know. What sets them apart? It's not that they don't experience negative emotions. They do. It's that they don't allow those emotions to control them. They understand that while they can't control the actions of others, they can control their own responses. They don't take things personally, because they understand that the behavior of others is not a reflection of who they are. They've learned to look beyond the surface and not allow someone else's actions to shake their emotional foundation. But how do you begin to practice this? How do you stop taking things personally, especially when someone's behavior seems intentionally hurtful? The first step is to recognize that the other person's actions or words are a reflection of their own inner world, not yours. People who lash out, criticize, or behave negatively are often projecting their own fears, insecurities, and frustrations. It has nothing to do with you. When you remind yourself of this, you begin to detach emotionally from the situation. The second step is to realize that you are in charge of how you feel. This is one of the most empowering realizations you can have. When you recognize that your emotional state is a result of your own thoughts and interpretations, you stop giving other people the power to control your feelings. You begin to understand that no one can make you feel anything unless you allow them to. This is not about ignoring your feelings, it's about choosing how to respond to them. It's also important to practice self-awareness. Pay attention to the thoughts that arise when someone does something that irritates or upsets you. Are you immediately jumping to conclusions about the other person's intentions? Are you making the situation about you, when in fact, it's not about you at all? By becoming aware of these patterns of thought, you can start to challenge them. When you catch yourself taking something personally, pause and remind yourself that it's not about you, it's about them. This simple shift in perspective can dramatically change how you feel and how you respond. One of the most effective ways to break free from the habit of taking things personally is to practice empathy. When someone behaves in a way that frustrates or hurts you, try to put yourself in their shoes. Understand that their actions are often a reflection of their own struggles and challenges, not a reflection of you. When you view the situation from their perspective, it becomes easier to let go of any negative emotions and respond with understanding instead of anger or hurt. It's also crucial to remember that your emotional peace is priceless. No situation or person is worth losing your inner peace over. When you take things personally, you're giving away your power. You're letting someone else's actions control your emotional state, which in turn controls your reactions and ultimately your life. But when you learn to detach emotionally, you take that power back. You regain control over your emotions, your responses, and your life. So the next time someone does something that would normally upset you, stop and ask yourself, is this really about me? Is it worth allowing this person's actions to affect how I feel? And in that moment, make the choice to let go of the emotion and take control of your response. When you do this, you'll find that you no longer have to depend on others to determine your emotional state. You'll find that you have the power to stay calm, centered, and focused no matter what life throws your way. It's easy to get caught up in the chaos of life, isn't it? The noise, the distractions, the endless demands that come from all directions. Everywhere you turn, there's something pulling at your attention, trying to grab a piece of your emotional energy. But here's the thing that many people overlook in the midst of all this. There is one thing that you can control, and that is your focus. The world is full of distractions, and they will continue to come at you, but how you choose to direct your attention is entirely up to you. And when you learn to focus on what you can control, something extraordinary happens. You begin to reclaim your power. Take a moment and think about all the things that demand your attention. Your job, your relationships, your health, your finances. The list is endless. And while each of these aspects of life is important, not everything is within your control. You can't control what others say or do. You can't control how the world operates. But you can control how you respond to all of it. The power to choose your reaction, to focus on the things that matter most to you, is one of the greatest tools you have. When you focus on what you can control, you stop wasting your energy on things beyond your reach. You stop getting caught up in the drama, the negativity, or the things that have no real bearing on your growth or success. Instead, you start directing your energy toward the actions that will move you forward. And this shift in focus has a profound impact on your life. Think about it. How often do we allow ourselves to get sidetracked by things that we can't change? Maybe it's a difficult coworker, a challenging situation, or the way things are going in the world. These things can easily become the focal point of our thoughts, and when that happens, they begin to shape our reality. We can become so consumed by things outside of our control that we lose sight of what we can actually do. But when you redirect your attention to what you can control, your own actions, thoughts, and decisions, you take back the reins of your life. You stop being at the mercy of circumstances, and you start being the architect of your future. The first step in this process is awareness. It's about recognizing what you're focusing on at any given moment. Are you focusing on the problems in your life, or are you focusing on the solutions? Are you dwelling on the obstacles, or are you directing your energy toward overcoming them? The key is to become aware of where your focus is going. Once you become aware of it, you can make a conscious decision to change it. The next step is to take deliberate action. Focusing on what you can control is one thing, but it's not enough just to think about it. You need to act. If you want to improve your situation, if you want to achieve your goals, you must take consistent steps toward them. This is where many people falter. They know what they should focus on, but they don't take the necessary action. The most successful people aren't those who have the best circumstances or the most talent. They are the ones who focus on what they can control and take decisive action toward their goals. But let's be clear. Taking action doesn't mean you're going to solve everything overnight. It's not about finding a quick fix or expecting instant results. It's about making progress, even if it's small. Every step you take toward what you can control brings you closer to the life you want to create. And when you consistently focus on those actions, you begin to see the momentum build. It's like a snowball rolling down a hill. It starts small, but the more you focus on it, the bigger and more powerful it becomes. Another key to focusing on what you can control is to understand that setbacks are inevitable. Life will throw curveballs and you will face obstacles. But these obstacles are not the end of the road. They are opportunities to learn and grow. The key is how you respond to them. When you focus on solutions and actions, setbacks become just another part of the journey, not something to be feared or avoided. You learn from them, adapt, and keep moving forward. This mindset shift is what separates those who achieve their dreams from those who remain stuck. And while focusing on what you can control is incredibly important, it's also essential to understand that your mindset plays a huge role in this process. The way you think about a situation will determine how you respond to it. If you believe that you're powerless or that life is happening to you, you'll find it much harder to take control. But if you believe that you have the power to shape your own reality, you'll start to see opportunities where others see problems. Your mindset is the lens through which you view the world, and when you choose to focus on what you can control, you begin to see a world full of possibilities. There is incredible power in focusing on what you can control. It's liberating. It takes you out of the victim mindset and places you firmly in the driver's seat of your own life. When you focus on what you can control, you stop allowing external circumstances to dictate how you feel or what you do. Instead, you create your own path one step at a time by focusing on the actions and decisions that are within your power. As you go through life, remember this: the key to true success, peace, and fulfillment lies not in controlling everything around you, but in focusing on what you can control. Your thoughts, your actions, your responses. These are the things that shape your reality. And when you consistently focus on these, you will create a life that reflects your true potential. The power to live the life you desire is already within you. It's simply a matter of choosing where to place your focus. When we look at the most successful people, it's easy to think that they are simply luckier than the rest of us. We might believe that their success comes from an external force, a twist of fate, or circumstances beyond their control. But the truth is that success is often determined by one simple factor: resilience. The ability to remain focused and maintain your emotional balance, no matter what life throws your way, is the hallmark of someone who will ultimately triumph. Resilience is not a trait that people are born with. It's a skill that can be developed, nurtured, and strengthened over time. And the key to developing this skill lies in understanding that life's challenges are not barriers, but opportunities for growth. Think about the obstacles you've faced in your own life. They may have seemed insurmountable at the time. Difficult situations, failures, losses, or disappointments. It's natural to feel discouraged in the face of these trials. But what separates those who overcome adversity from those who remain stuck is their ability to keep moving forward. Resilient people don't give up in the face of hardship. Instead, they adapt, learn, and continue to push forward. They see challenges as stepping stones, not roadblocks. Resilience doesn't mean that you don't experience pain or frustration. It doesn't mean that you won't have moments of doubt or despair. It means that when those feelings arise, you don't allow them to define you. You don't allow them to stop you from taking the next step. It's about learning how to keep going when everything inside of you is telling you to quit. It's about recognizing that setbacks are temporary, and that your ability to persevere is what will ultimately lead you to success. One of the most powerful aspects of resilience is its ability to shift your perspective. When you face a challenge, it's easy to view it as an obstacle, something that stands in your way, something that threatens to derail your progress. But resilient individuals understand that challenges are not obstacles, they are opportunities to grow stronger. Each setback is a chance to learn something new, to develop a new skill, to improve your ability to handle adversity. Instead of getting bogged down in frustration, resilient people ask themselves, what can I learn from this? How can I use this experience to become better? This shift in perspective is crucial. When you change the way you view obstacles, you change the way you respond to them. Instead of being paralyzed by fear or self-doubt, you approach the challenge with a sense of curiosity and determination. You stop seeing failure as something to be avoided and start seeing it as a necessary part of the journey. In fact, failure becomes less of a threat and more of a teacher. Every time you fail, you gather valuable lessons that will make you more equipped to handle the next challenge. But resilience is not just about responding to external challenges. It's also about developing mental and emotional strength from within. In order to be resilient, you must build the mental fortitude to stay focused on your goals, even when things don't go according to plan. This requires a commitment to your vision and a deep belief in your ability to achieve it. It's about refusing to let the ups and downs of life derail you. When you have a clear sense of purpose and an unwavering belief in your ability to succeed, you become unstoppable. Another important aspect of resilience is patience. It's easy to get discouraged when things aren't happening as quickly as we'd like. We live in a world that values instant gratification, but the reality is that success takes time. The most successful people understand that resilience is built over time through consistent effort and perseverance. They know that results don't come overnight and that setbacks are simply part of the process. Patience is not about waiting for things to get better. It's about staying committed to the process, trusting that every small step forward is bringing you closer to your goals. In addition to patience, resilience requires adaptability. Life is unpredictable and things rarely go exactly as planned. But resilient individuals don't let unexpected changes throw them off course. They are flexible, able to pivot when necessary, and willing to adjust their approach to achieve their goals. They understand that the road to success is rarely a straight line, and that it's often the ability to adapt to changing circumstances that makes all the difference. Building resilience is not an overnight process, but the more you practice it, the easier it becomes. Each time you face a challenge and choose to rise above it, you strengthen your ability to persevere. You become more comfortable with discomfort, more familiar with the process of learning from failure, and more confident in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. The more resilient you become, the more you realize that challenges are not things to fear. They are things to embrace. They are opportunities to grow, to learn, and to become stronger. When you begin to develop this mindset, something amazing happens. You stop seeing life as something happening to you and start seeing it as something happening for you. Every experience, every challenge, every obstacle becomes an opportunity for growth. The more you grow, the more you realize that you are capable of handling whatever comes your way. You become someone who is not defined by circumstances, but by your ability to rise above them. And that, my friends, is the true power of resilience. It's not just about bouncing back from difficulty. It's about moving forward, stronger and more capable than before. It's about understanding that the challenges you face are not there to break you, but to make you. And when you embrace this mindset, you unlock a strength that will carry you through anything life has to offer. When you wake up each morning, you have the power to shape the course of your day. Think about that for a moment each, and every day presents you with a blank canvas. The way you approach the day, the thoughts you choose to entertain, and the actions you decide to take will ultimately determine the direction of your life. Now, imagine for a moment that you've been given the ability to create your own reality, to shape your experiences based on the decisions you make. This is not a hypothetical idea, this is the truth of how your life works. You are the creator of your own destiny, and every decision you make, no matter how small, builds the future that you will live. So how do we take control of our lives? How do we truly begin to shape our future and become the person we're capable of being? It starts with taking responsibility for our actions, thoughts, and decisions. So many people go through life believing that they are simply products of their environment, that their circumstances control their fate, but that belief is what keeps them stuck. It's a mindset that strips them of their power and limits their potential. When you accept that you are responsible for your life, that you are the one who determines your success or failure, you unlock a whole new world of possibilities. The first step in taking control of your life is to realize that you are always in charge of how you respond to every situation. Think about the last time something didn't go your way. Maybe a project failed or you faced a setback. How did you respond? Did you let it define you? Did you give up or get discouraged? Or did you look at the situation with a sense of empowerment, knowing that it was just a bump in the road and that you could keep going? You see, life is filled with challenges and setbacks, but the way you respond to them is what truly matters. The ability to stay focused on your goals, no matter what obstacles come your way, is what will determine your success in life. The second key to taking control of your life is to focus on your personal growth. No one else is going to create your success for you. It's not up to your boss, your friends, or your family to make things happen. It's up to you. This is where many people falter. They look outside themselves for validation, for guidance, or for the right circumstances. But success comes from within. It comes from developing the mindset, habits, and behaviors that will propel you toward your goals. Personal growth is a lifelong journey, and the more you commit to becoming the best version of yourself, the more you will see the results in your life. Personal growth requires consistent effort. It's not enough to read a book or attend a seminar and think that's all you need. The key is to apply the knowledge you gain and take action. You must create a daily routine that aligns with your goals. Whether it's working on your physical health, developing your skills, or strengthening your mindset, every action you take is building the person you're becoming. The more you invest in yourself, the more you will begin to see the fruits of that investment. But remember, growth doesn't always happen in a straight line. There will be days when you feel like you're not making progress, but that doesn't mean you're failing. It simply means you're in the process of growing, and sometimes growth is slow and steady. One of the most powerful ways to take control of your life is to set clear, intentional goals. Without clear goals, you're like a ship drifting in the ocean, at the mercy of the waves. But when you have a clear direction, a vision for where you want to go, you become like a ship with a purpose. You set your course, and you steer toward it with determination. Goals give you a sense of purpose, and they give you something to work toward every single day. Without goals, it's easy to get distracted or lose focus. But when you know exactly what you want, you can channel your energy and efforts toward achieving it. However, it's not enough to simply set goals. You must also break them down into smaller, manageable steps. This is where many people get overwhelmed. They look at their big goals and think, "There's no way I can achieve that." But the secret to achieving any large goal is to break it down into smaller, more achievable steps. Instead of focusing on the end result, focus on the next step. What can you do today to move closer to your goal? This way you can avoid feeling overwhelmed, and you'll start building momentum toward success. Another important aspect of taking control of your life is your mindset. Your thoughts shape your reality. If you constantly think about what's going wrong, you'll only see more of what's going wrong. If you focus on the challenges, you'll miss the opportunities. But if you focus on solutions, growth, and possibilities, you'll begin to see a world full of opportunities for success. Your mindset is a powerful tool, and when you learn to control it, you can change the entire course of your life. The most successful people in life are not necessarily the ones with the most resources or the most talent. They are the ones who have learned to take responsibility for their lives and their decisions. They are the ones who understand that they are in control And they are the ones who have committed to doing the work every single day to become better. And you can do the same. You have the power to take control of your life, to create your own destiny, and to achieve anything you set your mind to. It all starts with making the decision to take responsibility for your actions and commit to your own growth. Your future is in your hands. What you do today will determine the life you live tomorrow. As we reflect on the journey we've taken together through the power of mastering our emotions, focusing on what we can control, learning not to take things personally, developing resilience, and taking full responsibility for our lives, we arrive at a profound truth. The life you desire is already within your grasp. You are not bound by circumstances or limited by what others do or say. Instead, you are empowered by the choices you make, the thoughts you entertain, and the actions you take each day. The moment you decide to take control of your emotional state, to focus on your growth and your goals, you begin to build the life you want. The challenges and setbacks that come your way are not there to break you, but to shape you into the person you were meant to be. Every decision, every shift in mindset, and every small action compounds over time, ultimately creating the reality you desire. Remember, resilience is not about never facing adversity. It's about having the strength to rise each time you fall. It's about learning, growing, and moving forward with confidence, knowing that you have the power to overcome anything. Your mindset, your ability to choose your emotional responses, and your commitment to your goals will define your success. You are the architect of your own future. So as you step into each new day, remember this: you have the power to control your emotions, your focus, and your life. You have everything you need to create the success and peace you deserve. The journey to mastery begins with the decision to take control. And once you make that decision, there is nothing that can stop you from achieving the extraordinary. Your future is in your hands. Now is the time to shape it.